All right. Let me freeze this there. Yes. It was good. I redid my laundry room. Didn't go anywhere. It looks really nice. I'll show you pictures later.
Did you make it
It's like HGTV.
aesthetically pleasing?
Yes.
Like, did you like organize everything?
Maybe after our lesson.
Labeled.
It's very organized. Yes. Yes. What did I change about it? I'll show you. I'll show you before and after pictures. Don't worry.
Was it major or was it just
The labels on it.
There's no labels on the containers, but they're cute.
In the process, or it's just like aesthetically pleasing.
It's aesthetically pleasing, yes.
Was it like major changes or just kind of just like little things?
Major changes.
Now I want to see.
You're gonna like it. I just changed the 29th deadline to the 31st. Yeah, so that it should match your calendar now. Okay, first one. I want to solve for y. So we need to decide if we're going to use law of sines or law of cosines. So you want to look for pairs of opposites, remember. So do I have any pairs of opposites in that first triangle? None? 39y. Okay, so your one pair of opposites will always have a variable in it. So I have one pair of opposites and I don't have another pair. I have two other side lengths. So what law do I use? Law of cosines. And again, for your quiz, you guys are going to have the formula. Let me put it on here for you. 2ab cosine c. Remember, your pair of opposites are going to be the c's in the formula. So here we're solving for the side length. So the y is going to be by itself, and we know the angle. The other two sides are just a and b. It doesn't matter which one's which. So 10 squared plus 14 squared minus 2 times 10 times 14 times cosine 39. And then this is the easy version of law of cosines, where the variable is already alone. So you can just simplify that whole right side in your calculator as long as you're in degree mode. So 10 squared plus 14 squared minus 2 times 10 times 14 times cosine 39 gives me y squared equal to 78.399 about. And then last step, take the square root to get that y alone. And I'm going to get approximately 8.85, and then doesn't have a unit on that one. Okay. Good there? All right. The next one says solve the triangle, which means we have to find every angle that's missing. Doesn't matter which one you pick first. Let's say I want to solve for angle A. Okay. Angle A is opposite what? 11. Okay, side A. So we've got one pair of opposites. We've got two additional side lengths. So what are we using? Law of cosines. You have to have two pairs of opposites for the law of sines. So this time, the 11 is going to be on the left. And then next to my cosine is going to be my variable. So it's going to be cosine angle A. And then we've got a little bit of simplifying to do. So 11 squared gives me 121. You can do 8 squared and 5 squared together, which give me 89. And then you can do 2, 8, and 5 multiplied together, which are going to give me 80. Cosine A. And remember, we do not want to subtract now because these are not like terms. One has a cosine A, the other one doesn't. So now we just start moving things away from the A. We're going to subtract 89 on both sides, which gives me 32 equals negative 80 cosine A. Divide by negative 80 gives me negative 0.4 equal to cosine A. And then last step, inverse cosine of negative 0.4. And then usually our angles, we round to the nearest degree, so it'd be 114 degrees. It's like 113.57. Okay. Law of cosines does not have a special case. You will only ever have one possible triangle. So we don't have to worry about what we did with the law of sines, where you did the supplement theorem, 180 minus the first answer to get the second answer. Okay. Once you have one angle, solve for another one. Again, it doesn't matter which one, B or C. Let's just go in alphabetical order and say I want to solve for B. Now, at this point, you do have a choice. You could use law of sines if you wanted to, because 8 and B are opposite each other, and 11 and 114 are opposite each other. The only thing you have to worry about with the law of sines here is the law of sines where you're solving for an angle is the special case. So you're going to get more than one answer. And sometimes with this type of triangle, only one answer is going to work, but it's difficult to tell which one actually makes sense with the triangle you have. So what I would suggest is do not use the law of sines, use the law of cosines again. It's going to be an extra step or two with your formula, but you're going to get the right answer versus having two answers and having to decide which one is the right one and which one is the wrong one. Okay, so law of cosines again. This time the 8 is by itself. 5 and 11, 5 to the 11th power 5 squared, plus 11 squared, minus 2 times 5 times 11, and 8 is opposite B. It's going to be by itself on the right side with that cosine. And then same steps to solve. So 8 squared, 64, 5 squared and 11 squared, give me 146. 2 times 5 times 11 is 110. Cosine B. 64 minus 146 gives me negative 82 equals negative 110 cosine B. Divide by negative 110. 0.75-ish, and then inverse cosine. To the nearest degree, I get B is 42 degrees, 41.8. I got it. Okay. To get the third angle, you could do law of cosines again if you want, and then that can confirm that you've got the right answer for the other two. You could do law of sines, which will give you two different answers, so I wouldn't recommend that. Or you could just do 180 minus the 2 that you have, which is probably the easiest route to go. So if you do 180 minus 114 minus 42, you're going to get angle C, which is 24 degrees. Okay, and then one thing you can check at the end, longest angle or largest angle opposite longest side, shortest angle. Make sure those all match up. Okay. Are we refreshed now from before spring break? A little bit? Okay, this is the stuff that your homework tomorrow night is over. So I'll help a little bit. All right. So 7.3 is a fairly short lesson. It's finding area of triangles. Yes, sir?
How many questions do you think should be?
4 or 5. This type of problem. Yeah, it's all triangle problems. And you'll have the formulas. Okay, so area of triangle. You guys know how to find area of triangles just back from geometry, 1/2 base times height. Where the base and the height make a 90-degree angle with each other. So that's the easiest formula to use if you have a height and a base. But if you don't have those, it becomes a little harder. You have to solve for those. You have to use trig. So we have a couple alternate formulas that we can use where you don't need a base and a height. They actually come from that if you want to do it that way. But this is just going to be a little quicker and a little easier. So the first formula we're going to use, it's actually written 3 different ways, kind of like the law of cosines. I can change the letters around. Just that first one is really all you need to worry about. 1/2 BC sine A will give you the area of a triangle. We use this when you have 2 sides and the angle between them. Okay? So it doesn't matter if it's a base or a height, as long as you have 2 sides and an angle between them, we can use this formula to find the area of the triangle. So that's the side angle side condition, which you see at the bottom here. It says find the area of the triangle if angle A is 57 degrees, B is 30 inches, and C is 52 inches. And if you need to, like we did with the law of sines and cosines before, you can always sketch this. So A is 57. Little b opposite big B is 30. Little c opposite big C is 52. So you can see in the picture there, even if I wasn't told it's side angle side, you can see it's side angle side. I've got the 2 sides with the angle between. Okay. So one thing I could do, like back in geometry, you guys could solve for this height. And it's just right triangle trig. You could use SOHCAHTOA to figure that out if you wanted to. And then you could do 1/2 times the base times the height to find the area. But to save ourselves some time, somebody figured out you just do the same steps over and over again. So if we just do 1/2 times the two sides and the sine of the angle between them, we get the area. Okay, the two sides that we know are 52 and 30, and the angle between them is 57. Don't get too hung up on the letters A, B, C, okay, because those can change. We can write the formula different ways. As long as it's two sides and the angle between, you're good. Type the whole thing in your calculator and you are done. 0.5 times 52 times 30 times sine 57. As long as you are in degree mode, you should get 654.16, and this is an area, so we're going to label it square inches in this case. Okay. Questions on that formula? Nope. Okay, moving on. Okay, so let's try this one. So let's say you don't have side angle side to start. You have one of these other cases. And we'll draw this picture. You can kind of see the relationship here. So find the area of this triangle. ABC. Angle B is 57 degrees. Angle C is 49 degrees. And side A, opposite angle A, is 16. Okay, if you do not have two sides with the angle between, you have to use either the law of sines or the law of cosines to get to that place at least. So what else could I solve for in this triangle? You could solve for the other angle pretty quickly. If you do 180 minus 57 minus 49, 180 minus 57 minus 49, I get 74. Okay. I still don't have side angle side, two sides with the angle between. So I have to solve for one side length. And it actually doesn't matter which one. Do you guys want to solve for side B or side C? Okay, so let's say I'm going to solve for side B. And whether I'm using law of sines or law of cosines, I'm going to look for my pairs of opposites. 16 and 74 are a pair of opposites. B and 57 are a pair of opposites. I have two pairs of opposites. I'm not solving for an angle, so we don't have to worry about this being the special case. Only when you solve for an angle with the law of sines is it the special case. So I'm just going to go ahead and use my law of sines. Sine 57 over B equals sine 74 over 16. Cross multiply. 16 sine 57 equals B sine 74. And then we're going to divide by sine 74. This is all just review from before break. And I get 13.96 if I give it two decimal places. Okay, and I'll label that on here, 13.96. Okay, so I found a few things that were missing in the triangle. Remember, the ultimate answer we're looking for is the area, and as long as you have two sides with the angle between, you have enough to get the area, which I do have. 16, 13.96, I know both of those sides, and I have the angle between them 49. So that corner of the triangle I can use in my formula now, which was 1/2 BC sine A, is how you guys had it written down, which just remembers 1/2 times the side, times the side, times the sine of the angle between them. I get 84.29, do we have a label on this one? Feet. Square feet for area. Okay. Good there. Any questions? A review of our law of sines. Okay. We're gonna skip the next problem, the try with a partner one, because we did our warm-up. We'll count that. Okay. There's one other formula for area of a triangle. And we can use this for side, side, side. So if we know all three sides of a triangle, we can use this. You can also use the other formula too, but you would have to use the law of cosines a couple times to be able to get enough information. So it's going to be a little bit simpler to use this instead. This is called Heron's formula. A lot of times when they give area for triangles, you might not see a capital A because we see A a lot in our triangles, ABC. So they'll use a K to represent area. That's all that means. Okay, so the area is K. And the formula is as follows. It's the square root of S, and then in each parentheses, it's S minus a side length. So S minus side A, S minus side B, S minus side C. S is the semi-perimeter, which we have a formula for it, but semi-perimeter just means half of the perimeter. So you guys know what that means, right? We add up all our sides and we just divide by 2, which is what that formula is doing. Add up all our sides and divide by 2, multiply by a half, okay? So to use this formula, we really don't need to draw a picture because all we have are side lengths, but you can if you want to. You're going to find S first, so find the perimeter, divide it by 2, and then you're just going to plug everything into the formula. It's very quick and easy. So here I have 3 sides, 2, 3, 4. If I want to find S, I'm going to add them up. And you can either multiply by a half, or I just like to divide by 2. So that would be 9 halves, or 4.5 would be the semi-perimeter in this problem. So then your area is going to be S, 4.5. And then your 3 parentheses are going to be S minus a side length. And it doesn't matter what order you use them in. So 4.5 minus 2, 4.5 minus 3, 4.5 minus 4. And you just type the whole thing in your calculator all at once. And you will get about 2.9. We don't have a unit here, so I'll just say units squared. Okay. That formula makes sense? Okay, so we have one formula, 2 sides and the angle between. You're going to use the one with the sign in it. If you have all 3 sides, you're going to use Heron's formula. Okay. All right. Last problem. I'm going to change a number on here. Actually, I'm going to change a couple of numbers. Let's make it 50, 75, and 150. All right, I want you guys to find the area of this triangle. Go. No solution impossible is correct.
Yes.
So did you get a negative under the square root, or like an error when you tried to take the square root? That's okay. So that happens in this problem. I changed the numbers, so that would happen. Because it doesn't meet our triangle inequality. Does that sound familiar from geometry? Where the 2 smaller sides, when you add them together, have to be bigger than the 3rd side. So if I add 50 and 75 together, it's smaller than the 150. So it's impossible for all 3 of those sides to meet up. The 2 smaller sides have to be bigger than the larger side. But it'll kind of reveal itself in the formula because you'll get an error when you try to find the area if it doesn't work out.
So we don't have to use the formula.
Right. If you can just say triangle not possible, 2 smaller sides are smaller than the sum of the 2 smaller sides are smaller than the bigger side, then yep, you're good. Okay. All right. That's it. Area of triangles. Okay, so last part of the period is yours. You guys can use this to work on some of your Math Excel if you want. Here's what's happening for the next few days then. So tomorrow we're going to do an escape room. You need your calculators for tomorrow because you're going to be using law of sines, law of cosines, and the area formulas to be able to escape. And then circuit training is due tomorrow from last week. 7-2 Math Excel is due tomorrow night. Wednesday, we'll do a quiz. Your quiz is individual basic calculator, but you will be given the formulas. And then Thursday is when your 7-3 Math Excel is due. Okay?
Yeah.
Good? All right.